Hello my lovelies, welcome back to my channel. This is your girl Angel from Simply Angel Tia. In this video we're gonna be working on these thigh high leg warmers. Very simple, very nice, very easy to do. So for those of you who are beginners, this is something that you will do and it will just be a really easy project for you guys to do. It's a one row repeat, so you don't have to worry about learning too many different stitches. We just use a single crochet and a half double crochet in the back loop, and this is why we have this pattern that has these ribs like this. Yeah, so this is what we're gonna be working on. I hope you guys will watch it to the end. So let's go ahead and grab our materials and get started. Okay, my lovelies, so before we get started with this project, I'm going to show you all the materials that I'm using. And as you can see, I have everything displayed here. I have my yarn. As per usual, I'm using the only yarn I seem to be using these days. Azurite, it's 100% acrylic. This skein here is 50 grams or 140 meters. It is color number 7, but as you can see, obviously, I call it orange. Recommended hook size for this yarn is 3.5 to 4 millimeter crochet hook, and it's a lightweight number 3. Okay, so this is what I choose to use. Of course, you can use any yarn of your choice. I am using a 5 millimeter crochet hook, H8 US. Obviously a lot bigger than what is recommended here, but it's just a comfortable hook for me to use. So obviously follow the instructions. Especially if you're a beginner, try to follow the recommended hook size. Unless you know how to control your tension well, then you can use different size of hooks, okay? I have my scissors here to cut my strands. I have a darning needle. I have my tape measure for size purposes. And I have a pen here, like a hair pin, that I'm going to be using as a stitch marker. And not because I don't have stitch markers. I actually often use these type of stitch markers here, but I just find this a lot better. I don't know, I just got bored of these as well, and sometimes this one particularly can slip off as you're working on your project, especially if it's a big project. It can kind of slip off because of this gap here. And then of course these ones you have to lock it, and then every time you have to remove it, you have to unlock it, remove it, and so I got bored of doing all of that. So I find this a lot easier to just kind of slip into the space and then you just pull it out. It's very smooth, so it doesn't actually pull your yarn at all. So I'm gonna probably see if I can find some colorful ones. This is just one that I used for my hair, so I will try to find some that are nice and colorful that I can use as stitch markers for crochet. But anyways, so these are all the things that I need. So let's go ahead and get started. Okay, my lovelies, so I am gonna get started with the project here. So I've prepped my yarn and I have my hook here. So I'm just gonna start by doing a slip knot. So I do my slip knot like this and just pull. And for this, we're going to work the length of the project. So at this point, you will need to determine how long you want your leg warmers to be. So as you know now, mine are going to be thigh high leg warmers. So I am going to be starting by doing a chain of 100. So what I did was I just measured from my ankle all the way up to where I want my leg warmers to end, and then I just do a chain that corresponds to that. So in my case, I'm going to be starting with a chain of 100. Okay, so 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10. Okay, my lovely, so I completed my chain of 100 here. So as you can see, it's quite long because again, it's for thigh high leg warmers. Okay, so I have my 100 chains here. So however many chains you will do, you will just make sure you have that. It does not matter if it's an even number or an odd number, as long as you have the length that you need. I'm gonna add one chain for a working chain for my turning chain. Okay, so for the first row, I am going to go ahead and skip this stitch right here. And in the next stitch, I'm going to complete a half double crochet in the back of that chain, just like this. Okay, your chain one does not count as a stitch. Then I'm going to go to the back of the next chain and complete a half double crochet, and then in the next I'm going to go ahead and complete a half double crochet, and then I continue this all the way down the chain, with an exception of a number of chains where we will do a single crochet as opposed to a half double crochet. So I will show you quickly what I'm talking about here. So what I do at this end, and this is where our stitch marker will come in handy, I'm going to count out 12 stitches. So I'm going to go 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10 11 12. So in this 12th stitch, I'm going to put my stitch marker there like this. And that 12th stitch is where we will do single crochets in the remaining over here, okay? So we will work our half double crochets at the back, on the back of the chain, all the way to just the stitch before the stitch marker, which is this one here. And then you will come back to the video. I will show you how to do the single crochet for the remaining 12 stitches, and then I will show you how to start the next row. But for now, let's just go ahead and complete these half double crochets in the back of the chains until we get to the stitch mark. I will see you guys then. Okay, my lovelies, so I have completed my half double crochets until I got to the stitch marker, as you can see here. And just a few things before I go on here. So this amount of stitches that I leave here to do the single crochets in, it's absolutely up to you. So this is gonna be a part that I just kind of want to hug my ankle a little bit tighter as opposed to the rest of it. Also because as our leg goes up, it gets bigger. So it would be nice if you have the bottom of it that is tight. So it really depends on how wide you want this part to be. You can make it even 20 stitches or something like that if you want. So just to let you know that this is absolutely by choice, not because this is a must that you have to leave 12 stitches to do the single crochets in, okay? All right, so as you can see, I did my half double crochet there. The next stitch is where my stitch marker is. So I am going to remove my stitch marker for now, just put it here. And then in that stitch where I just removed the stitch marker, we're gonna continue to work in the back of the stitches. So I'm gonna go ahead and do a single crochet in that stitch like that. And I'm gonna go ahead and replace my stitch marker back. So I'm just gonna put that guy right back in that stitch. And then I'm gonna move on to the next stitch and do a single crochet in the back stitches of the chains as well, okay? So we're still kind of doing the same thing as we did for the half double crochets, except we're just changing these 12 stitches to be the single crochet stitches instead, okay? So I'm gonna do this all the way to the bottom, which is the end of our stitches, and you will continue to have 100 stitches throughout this whole project. So you shouldn't have stitches that are less than what you started with. We used the last stitch, the 101 stitch, to be our turning chain, which doesn't count as a stitch at the end of it all, okay? So as you can see, I'm just coming to the end here. And by the way, this also working in the back of the chains is a choice as well. If you prefer to just go through the normal stitch, you can also do that. But the reason I do it like this is because if you can see, this side looks just exactly like this side. If you can look at it throughout, it's exactly the same. When you do just the one stitch, it has one side that is just, this is just one stitch like this is showing. Okay. All right, so now we have gone all the way down, and as you can see, where we did the single crochet, it's a little bit thinner than where we did the half double crochet. So we're going to start again by doing a chain of 1 and turning. Your chain 1 does not count as a stitch in this whole project, so you're just doing it as a turning chain, which means in that same stitch, right, in the very next stitch to it, you go into that and back loop and complete a single crochet, just like this. Okay, and then you go into the back loop of the next stitch and complete a single crochet, and in the next you go on and do a single crochet, and in the next, and you do this all the way again to the stitch marker. Keep in mind the stitch that your stitch marker is on is one of the stitches you're doing the single crochet in, and then you will replace it back when you complete that final single crochet, and then from that point on to the top you do just the half double crochets, okay? So this also helps you not to have to count every time having a stitch marker. If you don't have a stitch marker, then make sure you're counting to make sure there's 12 stitches you're doing here before you switch over to the half double crochet. So as you can see, I will now quickly remove my stitch marker, put it down, go into that stitch in the back, complete a single crochet, bring my stitch marker back, put it there easily, and then from that point on I am doing my half double crochets, and I'm also doing them in the back loop of the stitches. Okay, so half double crochets in the back loop and single crochets in the back loop. Everything is going to be going in the back loop, and the only time I don't do it in the back loop is my final stitch from the second row. So the first row, everything went in the back loop, and then for this second row, I don't go in the back loop for the last last stitch every time. So if I'm going from here up to here, I will do my half double crochet in both loops of this final stitch. Okay, and then when I come down and I come all the way down here, the final stitch here, I will be going through both loops as opposed to just the back loop. So that's what I mean by at the end of each row I'm doing a back loop. So not the beginning of the row, but at the end of the row I am doing a back loop, whatever it is, half double crochet or the single crochets. Okay, so as you can see, I'm gonna go ahead and continue these all the way to here. So work yourself until you have one stitch left, and then when you have done that, come back to the video. I will show you how to work that final stitch and how to start the next row, and I will probably do the third row with you guys, and then we just repeat that until we have what we need for our size. And I will talk to you guys a little bit about the size when I come back. So for now, let's meet when you have one stitch left on this end here. Okay, my lovelies, so I have completed my row of the second row of this, and as you can see, I have one stitch left at the end. So I just wanted to quickly come here and show you how to go through this. So for those of you who don't care to go through the both loops, you would obviously just go here and complete this row like this. So that's how you will do it. But I do go through both loops. So then for this, I will just grab this first loop and the second loop as well to complete my half double crochet. I just find it kind of is a little bit stronger here. It doesn't pull the yarn. Okay, so that's that. And then for the second row, we're going to start by doing a chain one, which doesn't count as a stitch. And then I'm going to turn my work, and in that second this stitch right here, I'm gonna go in the back and complete my half double crochet. And then I'm gonna go into the next stitch and grab the back loop and complete a half double crochet, and then in the next, and I will go all the way down to where I have my stitch marker. And then when I get to my stitch marker, I will obviously change to doing the single crochets. But what I will do, just to show you how to do this for the second time, is work your half double crochets in the back loop until you get to the stitch right before the stitch marker, which is where you'll be doing a half double crochet in the back loop, and then come back to the video and I will show you how to, again, just one more time, transition into doing the single crochets. And then I will obviously show you how to finish the final stitch here as well, because I do it differently. When we do that, when we reach to that area, we will come back so I can work with you guys for the remaining 12 stitches. Okay, see you guys in a bit. Okay, my lovelies, so I have reached the stitch marker again. So as you can see, I did my half double crochet in the back loop of that final stitch before the stitch marker. So again, I'm just going to remove my stitch marker, put it down, and in that stitch here, I'm gonna go in and complete a single crochet in the back loop, because we're now changing it. I'm gonna put my stitch marker back into that stitch, and then I'm gonna complete the remaining 11 single crochets. Okay, and again, because we're going towards the end of this row, I'm gonna be doing just a single crochet in both loops for the final stitch, as a preference, not at all something you need to do. It's a preference that I like to have. I find that it keeps my work very steady and very firm at the end, and not the yarn is not pulling and getting loose. Okay, so just like that. So now I'm in my final stitch. I'm just gonna go into that final stitch and grab both loops like this. So I have two of my loops here, and then complete my single crochet. Okay, so that is my third row completed. So you're going to pretty much continue this until you have what you need in terms of the width of your leg warmer. So as you can see, it's really long. So just so we can establish the length of it here. For me, obviously for you or for somebody else you're making it for, the length could be different, but mine is 26 inches, okay? So it's 26 inches because, like I said, it's a high thigh high leg warmer. So it's gonna go all the way from my ankle. So it's gonna, let's assume this was my leg. It's pretty much gonna go down like this, and it's gonna go all the way to the upper part of my thigh. Okay, again, you can do this shorter. If you wanted to just go below your knee, you will do less chains. If you wanted to go just above your knee, you will just measure that and get your size based on your measurements. But you're going to continue doing this until you have the width. For the width, what I did was I just measure the widest part of my thigh. So how high do I want it to go? And then in that height, I measure the circumference of my thigh. And when I do that, I have about 22 inches of the widest part of my thigh. Not very big, but it's my size, okay? So what I will do is I will concentrate more on getting that size here. Because it's the widest part of the leg warmer. So don't worry too much about the bottom part here. But for the upper side of your leg, you want to make sure that when you stretch this, as you work on it, when you really stretch it, you need this length, this circumference here, or the length of this here, to come up to 22, for example, for me. Okay, so I will work, and as I go, I will keep stretching it, measure, and when I get to my 22, I will probably come down to 21 because I want it to really hug me. So I will probably kind of stop at 20, 21, just so that it's not loose when I put it on. Okay, so I'm gonna work until I have the size that I want, that will fit the widest part of my thigh, and then when I have that, I will stop, and then I'll come back to the video. Okay, so you guys do the same, and I will see you guys when you have your first piece here completed. Okay, my lovelies, so I have completed one of my leg warmers here. So this is I did about 32 rows altogether. So in terms of size, this is the top, obviously, where it's gonna go up my thigh, and this is what I was talking about. So because we're doing these half double crochets in the back loop, it's quite stretchy. So after 32 rows, I stopped because it's gonna be enough for me. So all I need to do then is just put my tape measure here and stretch it out to where I have the size that I'm looking for. Okay, so you're gonna go ahead and do the same. And when you see that you have enough, then you're gonna stop there. So I'm gonna show you how to then join your leg warmers so that we have this tube that now is gonna be something that is wearable, okay? But the first thing we're gonna do here is we're going to cut these off because we're done now. I'm gonna cut it off so that I have enough yarn to join my leg warmer from here all the way down. So I think this is about enough here. So I'm gonna bring in my scissors. I'm gonna cut somewhere there, and what I will do here is I will do a slip stitch and then pull to just lock this section in here so it doesn't come apart. Okay, and then what I will do is I will fold my work on the wrong side. So I will call this here the right side. So I will fold it like this to join. Okay, actually it won't matter at all how you join it, as long as, because it's very even the way you do it. You can even do it the other way like this, but you just have to join your work like this or the other way. Either way, it's not gonna make a big difference, but all you will need to do here is grab your darning needle. So I have my darning needle here. I'm going to insert it there, and then I'm going to line up my work here, and then I'm just going to join it all the way down. So I'm going to go in this very first stitch here, I'm going to go through both loops, and on the opposite side I will make sure I grab the loop for the first stitch as well, just right here, and I'm going to pull that through. like that, and I'm gonna go into that stitch one more time. I'm gonna loop my yarn around like that and then pull. And when you loop your yarn around the darning needle like that, it's almost like you're doing a slip stitch. Okay, so just like that. And then, so now what I will do for the remaining of the stitches, I'm going to grab the stitch, the loop closest to me, and then on the opposite side, I'm going to grab the loop closest to me as well. So I grab the outside on this side and the inside on the other side. And I'm going to bring that in. And then I'm gonna pull. So the yarn is quite long here, so you're gonna take a while to just kind of pull and make sure it's not tangling. And then for the next stitch, I'm gonna grab the inside of the loop, the outside here, the inside on the other side, and I'm gonna pull. And then I will just repeat this all the way down. And the reason I'm doing it like this is because it's gonna, when we finish, it's gonna emulate the back loop stitches that we're doing, because we're grabbing only one loop on each of the sides to sew. When we finish again, it's gonna look like we are just gonna look like stitches like this here. Okay, so I'm gonna do this all the way down, all the way to here. So when you get to the end here, come back to the video and I will show you how to finish it off there. And just one thing, when you do this, make sure you're not pulling too much, because you don't want your work to kind of crumble up. Make sure you're pulling just enough to for it to be sturdy, but not too much. But also don't leave it too loose, because it's gonna look weird. Okay, so go ahead and continue doing this to get to the bottom, and then I will meet you guys there so we can finish off this one leg warmer. Okay, see you guys in a bit. Okay, my lovelies, so I have joined all the way to the bottom. So as you can see, I have just the end here to finish. And so I just wanted to show you guys how I finish the end here. Of course, if you know how to do it, go ahead and do that. But what I do for the end here, just like I did at the beginning, is I grab both loops of that final stitch and I pull it. And then I go to the very edge of this area here, just so that there's no weird gap here. And I just grab that stitch at the end like that. Do it one more time. And then I will do it one more time, but this time I will do the kind of like the chain one, so that we can pull that tight like this. Okay, that way the end here ends in a flat manner, as opposed to it having a gap here. All right, so now if we put the work down like this, as you can see, you may not see, or if you do see, you will see that this is where we joined here, and there's barely any gap that looks like we joined. So it just kind of merges into the stitches of the whole project like that. And so what I will do then is I will just take my scissors, cut this here, and I will probably just knot these two, which is where we started the project, plus where we're finishing the project. I'll probably just knot that multiple times and then cut it off. And it's the only place that we have any hanging yarn at all, because the whole work just kind of worked as one piece. So then I'll just cut these off here. Okay, I'll put that on the side. This is how much yarn I have left from what I left cut off. So it's actually a lot more than I expected. So I will use this to join the second leg warmer. So I'll just put that on the side on the darning needle. But yeah, so that this is it here. So it looks like this. Often where I join, even though it's not very visible, but often where I join, I end up making that my inside. So I just kind of flip the whole project inside out, and then the other side becomes my outside, because I just kind of think it's a little bit cleaner, because there will be not anything showing too much. So this is pretty much it here. So very basic leg warmer, but also very nice. So this is the one leg warmer completed here. This is gonna be the top of my thigh section here. This is the bottom of the ankle, so it's gonna fit nice and comfortable. Just for those of you who are curious, this is about a skein and a half to finish one leg warmer at this size. Of course, which means, because I'm a small, so which means you probably would need a minimum of 2 if you're larger than small. Okay, but yeah, this is it here. I'm gonna put this on the side. I'm gonna start my second one exactly the same, and when it's done I will come back to show you guys when I have the 2 leg warmers. Okay, so I will see you guys in a bit. Okay, my lovelies, so I have gone ahead and completed my second leg warmer here. So as you can see, we did this one here together, and then I just repeated the exact same thing that I did with the first one to be able to duplicate and get the second one, and so they're all done. So very long leg warmers, like I said, they are thigh high. Very simple to do, very beginner friendly as well for those of you who are just starting off crochet. Yeah, so this is pretty much it. I hope you guys enjoyed making these ones with me. Yeah, so I hope to see you guys in the next one. Don't forget to subscribe, comment, share, like, all of the good stuff that helped me with my algorithm. It helps me continue to make videos for you guys. And yeah, so I thank you guys in advance. But if you're not subscribed, please subscribe, because that does help a lot as well. Thank you so much again, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye.